Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. Wherever you are, I hope you always update. My name is Wika Ariningti, and here I will present one of Helene Cixous' essays called The Life of the Medusa. Shall we start? Okay. Helene Cixous, The Life of the Medusa, along with a rigorous speculum of the other women, were critical challenges to patriarchal and masculinist discourse, particularly psychoanalysis and philosophy. This new French feminism was strongly connected to the main lines of development in post-structuralist thought. This is Cixous' biography. Cixous born in Oran, Algeria. She was part of generation theorists during the turbulent 1960s. Her literary theory was boldly innovative, as well as her fiction and drama. All her writings resist the patriarchal power behind Western philosophical and theoretical traditions. The Life of the Medusa and Three Steps on the Ladder of Writing articulate her critique of these traditions and advocate an alternative discourse form, namely a creature feminine or feminine writing the body. So, what is the creature feminine? The concept of creature feminine is the articulation of female sexuality in writing and speaking, which can eventually bring a shift in the language system. It is a type of writing that does not remain chained within Western palagocentric rationalism and has a certain sense of fluidity. Cixous believes only women could bring about this fluidity in language. Taking influence from Jacques Derrida's theories, she noted that women are decentered, therefore free to create. And what is palagocentric? Palagocentrism itself referred to the privileging of the masculine in the construction of meaning. Cixous holds that women seldom wrote in history since they were denied such a position. If a woman did write, it was considered nonsense. The point in arguing for women to write is so that they can write women. Women created and written by women, not by men. Cixous stresses that women should not internalize images projected onto them by men, images that alienated women from a sense of self-worth found in writing. Even when women did write, they tended to adopt a male's point of view. And so the history of Western writing is deeply phallocentric. Okay, The Life of the Medusa, as long as her thesis was published in 1975, and both became classic genre of theory and made their author, Helene Cixous, one of the leaders of new French feminism. This text announces a new approach to the old question of sexual difference. Have had many descendants, especially their extra French-speaking diaspora, in all the fields of research that stem from feminism and the struggle of women in the 1970s, such as women's studies, gender studies, and queer theory. The Life of the Medusa is a call for women to shatter the negative image imposed by men through the concept of castration. Medusa is the mythic being whose petrified snake-like hair terrifies men who in defensive response accede to erection and enter into the symbolic. The meaning of the castration is destroyed through laughter. The woman is not that terrifying being that men would like to make of her to dominate them better. Let's move to what you say. Women should pursue writing despite attempts to drive them away from the field in the past. Cixous also demonstrates how feminine writing can look through the text itself. She reminds us that we need to speak out loud against the patriarchal structures that oppressed us. Cixous argues in The Life of the Medusa that a woman should write texts and herself in two ways, such as on personal and historical levels. On a personal level, the woman will return to her body to feel comfortable in it. By censoring women's writing, the female body was also censored. According to Cixous, writing will give the woman back her assets and pleasures which were bounded and set her free from guilty. On the general historical level, a woman's writing marks her active entrance into history as an agent with initiative. This essay is celebrated manifesto for women's writing, which calls women to put their bodies into writing. Cixous writes ecstatically of the teeming female unconscious. Write yourself, your body must be heard. Only then will the immense resources of the unconsciousness spring forth. According to Cixous, women cannot avoid using men's language, but they should not be driven back by this. If a woman was always the opposite signifier of a man, it is time to take a new position within discourse and make the signifier her own. For Cixous, any feminine text has to be supervised, the mere act of it. A woman can write from a position that no man can have. We made it to the conclusion. The Life of the Medusa by Helene is a call for women to write themselves against the patriarchal culture that oppressed women. Medusa represents women, which terrifies men. Women do not want men to dominate them, and they will never be. I think that's it from me. Thank you so much for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.